Hey there. I wanted to talk about some things that are on my mind as I am in these early stages of, preparing to apply for disability benefits. Um, and I don't know what that process is going to look like, but I do know that, yeah, I'm applying for jobs right now too, but also I kind of have to apply for jobs to have some instances come up in which I can be talking to the therapist about how I process things and kind of give her evidence on which to base her diagnosis for me. Because if she's talking to me when I am being somewhat supported because I'm just like able to be at home and I'm not in such intensive incompatible environments, then she's not going to really be able to see the proper evidence for her to base a diagnosis off of. So, that's why I'm applying to some jobs lately so that I can be more in that kind of mode because yeah, I have to have that in the forefront of my mind to be able to even remember, even have access to the words to describe things to her. Like I usually, when I experience bad symptoms, thoughts, feelings, being afraid, all that, like I just try to forget it as soon as possible. Like it leaves a very strong emotional impression, but I'm haven't been very good at knowing how to like put into words a description to other people, like what the thought the thought behind the feelings would be, or even remembering what the thoughts are, because I just get so overwhelmed and I forget things. So I've been trying to write down things also lately. I'm writing it down in, what is it called? Chat GPT, because I really like that when I write it down, it gives like, with no extra effort on my part, it gives like really positive, helpful, like reframings that help me to remember that perspective of pride for myself and like anti-shame, and that it makes sense what I'm going through and feeling hopeful. So um some it's it's really a lot. I was thinking today about how, like, when people talk to me, like the therapist I just started talking to, or like the social worker who is assigned as a part of this process, like when I talk to them, like they keep on telling me like I'm so easy to work with, like I don't know, things along that line. And I'm like, for one, I mean, thank you for their intention of complimenting and trying to be optimistic and affirming and all that, but also I feel how I take it when they say it is that it seems like I don't really struggle enough, I guess. And for one, yeah, it's easy to think that I'm not really struggling much when there's not the right circumstances to bring it up. But also I suppress things in a way that causes me physical pain and causes me, you know, just it's not sustainable, where I get into like super positive mindsets and just for some reason that seems not to be sustainable for me. Like I wish it would be. I wish I could just be like just have fun, be lighthearted, think of everything as like a positive, but there's sometimes when I'm like, no, actually there's still something sneaking under the surface. Like it's going to be nagging me and I'm not going to feel clear. I'm going to feel like I'm living a double life somehow. And I'm being inauthentic, and I'm going to be second guessing every interaction with other people until I can investigate what those thoughts are underneath. And I can feel like I don't have to just slap on a hyper positivity over it. Like it's okay for me to be angry, disappointed, frustrated, afraid, and also for that to be a safe thing for me to be for myself and other people, and be like, yeah, I am these things, feeling these things, but it doesn't mean I'm unsafe, or it doesn't mean a catastrophe is going to happen, you know? Um, so that is, it takes a lot of work that makes it unsustainable for me to like be interacting with with people on a regular basis. Um like, well, I guess so dependent on if people are safe, but I'm just thinking like I don't want to say it's unsustainable for me to be doing so on a regular basis, but I'm talking about in a job context, right? It's unsustainable for me to be interacting with people sustainably when I have a job to do. You know, because it is so distracting for me and it takes up so much of my emotional and mental capacity to be constantly like having to rewrite the narratives and do things to manipulate my emotions and my thoughts and my feelings. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself, how far I've come in my ability to get back to a safe feeling place, and like a place where I can affirm myself and you know, I don't feel like totally terrified and victimized and or like hopeless for the future, or like I need to harm myself, or like, you know, all these things. I'm really grateful that I'm able to that I've gained these skills to be able to manage these things in myself. But at the same time, it takes so much energy. And so when I'm focusing on a job, when I'm focusing on other activities, it's those things don't really combine well. Like those things, um, yeah. So I don't know. I think that what is compatible for me long term, it is more like how can I take what comes natural for me, like the emotions and thoughts and feelings that I do experience, how can I take that and be able to profit off of it somehow in whatever job I do, or how can I find ways of being creative and organizing my energy in a sustainable way which brings up those difficult thoughts and emotions less, so I don't have to even deal with as much in the first place, you know? And I feel like how my life has gone, like I am just not equipped, not designed, not handled for the structures of the world, and for the, you know, a big thing that I think about is how I'm going to disappoint or let down the expectations of people around me. You know, that is like a big, even when I'm alone and I'm just imagining like, okay, what if I'm gonna go out and get a job, what if I'm gonna go out to the grocery store, it's like, it's a very strong thought of just this sense of fear of, in what way am I going to disappoint people's expectations. And I want to see it in a fun way, like how can I disappoint people's expectations and not care? But then when I'm thinking of it in terms of like a survival kind of thing, like a job, I'm like, oh God, like I have to care. Like if I don't say things in the exact right tone, or if I don't, you know, if I don't do things in the exact right way, like everything kind of becomes like a life or death situation, at least in the kind of jobs that I've been in. And I want to find jobs that don't have a culture like that, but I have to learn hard skills in order to be eligible for those jobs. And my mental health is at a place where I'm not really capable of learning new things right now. The lack of money, lack of support, lack of, by support I mean friends, community, finances, you know, lack of just healing still. Like I still have healing as far as like changing of mindsets and continued increasing of physical health to go, you know. Just there's so many dimensions to the puzzle, and I'm grateful that I have insight. I'm grateful that I, you know, stopped using substances like 7-8 years ago, because it at least allows me to have more insight into the bigger picture and feel like at least I have a map, you know, that at least I can be grateful that I am aware of all the problems and how they might affect one another. And it gives me a sense of like I have more agency and control over things, in theory, but I don't really. It's one of these ongoing problems for me, you know, it might be for you too, where it's just like, how do you um feel like you know what is the next thing to do and know what like is missing, like as far as like the next step. But you know how things kind of happen, it's like, god, like things aren't moving in the right direction. I could do all these billions of things, but I'm confused on what is authentic for me, or what will give the right result, or what I should invest my energy into and like try to stick with. And then when you're on the other side in the future, you're like, oh, that was it. I wish I would have known that at the time. Like, that's what I feel like now. Like, I keep on trying all these things, and I just feel, I think that's part of where my optimism comes from, is thinking of the future. And it's almost like I'm like, it's like a mystery. Like, seeing life is like not a murder mystery. I don't even like murder mysteries really, but just a mystery of like, how's it all going to come together? Like, I know it's going to come together, but like, how am I going to see the interweaving of like all these different things that seemed like failures that I tried, but in the future I'm going to find out like, oh, that's where all these things came in, and that's why that needed to happen, and that's why this came like together like that. And it just, you know, in the meantime, surviving, I guess. So, yeah, I just wanted to share these thoughts on this topic, and um, just keep on remembering that whatever emotions you experience, it is literally not personal, in the sense that what you're experiencing, it's like what a robot would experience, that have the same life events that you have, that have had the same access to resources, or in access to resources, you know, like what we experience is literally out of our control. Who we are is out of our control, because it all comes down to the resources and the information, the genetic history, the place we live in, the time period. You know, who we are is not personal. It's all down to external things. And that's why for me, it's important to remember that all I have control over is trying to change my access to what's in my environment in, hopefully, as pleasant a way as I possibly can. And it's all an experiment, and just give yourself permission to not suffer, to not feel like you have to suffer in order to be a good person or to succeed. That's what I'm doing, what I have been doing over the past however many months, and that's what has released the most pain. And yeah, I'm not solving my problems in the way that I wish I was still, but at least I'm not like majorly suffering and feeling like life is just like a torture show every day, you know? And that in and of itself, I'm so grateful for. So, yeah, thank you for listening, and take care. Bye.